Hello my viewers, welcome once again to my channel Israeli Mass Concept. In this tutorial, I'm going to take you on the topic linear inequality. What runs to your mind or gets to your mind whenever you hear about the term inequality? It is very simple. Let's take a statement that involves inequality, a statement that is not an equality statement. For example, let's take this statement that the distance from Onitsha to Lagos State is greater than the distance from Lagos State to Abuja. Looking at these two statements, they vary. Remember, the distance from Onitsha to Lagos State is greater than the distance from Lagos State to the city of Abuja. Looking at these two statements, they vary. Let me now represent the two statements I made with inequality. I said earlier that the distance from Onitsha to Lagos State State is greater than, remember this is the sign for greater than, is greater than the distance from Lagos State to Abuja, Abuja city. So looking at these two statements, we cannot say that the distance from Onitsha to Lagos is equal to Lagos to Abuja. No, this one implies a quality statement. We're looking at this statement, the distance between Onitsha to Lagos State is not the same thing as the distance between Lagos to Abuja, so they vary in distance. That means their distances, the distance from Onitsha to Lagos is more than the distance from Lagos to Abuja. Remember, we can still reverse this statement by saying that the distance from Lagos to Abuja is less than a distance from Onitsha to Lagos State. That is if we are trying to reverse this given statement I just made mention of. Know it today that whenever we are talking about equality, we are talking about things that are equal or proportional to the other. But whenever we are talking about inequality, it simply means that the other thing is greater than or less than, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to the other statement. Alright, having known what an inequality is, I want to state the different inequality symbols we have in mathematics. The first inequality symbol we have in mathematics is greater than. Just like the statement I made here that Onitsha to Lagos, the distance from Onitsha to Lagos is greater than the distance from Lagos to Abuja. So this is the sign for greater than. Then another inequality symbol we have is less than. So this one we call it greater than. Then this second inequality symbol we call it less than. It doesn't matter, some persons could call it is greater than. Then in other words for this one is less than. They are still the same thing. Then this one implies maybe you are trying to reverse the symbol here by interpreting the distance from Lagos to Abuja. You will now say it is now less than the distance from Onitsha to Lagos. Take note that when you are reading it from this side, the symbol remains the same. That the distance from Onitsha to Lagos is greater than the distance from Lagos to Abuja. But when you want to reverse the statement by reading it from this other right hand side, you will now say that the distance from Lagos to Abuja is less than the distance from Onitsha to Lagos, so that the statement will make the same meaning or will not lose the tenacity of the message that it is portraying at the initial. Alright, let's also take number 3. Another inequality symbol we have is what we call greater than or equal to. So you can still call it is greater than or equal to. That means if you are taking ranges that are greater than the other and is still at the same level at that same range, that is when we use this symbol. Then the first symbol we use in inequality, which is the last one I'm taking for now, is less than or equal to. So we call this symbol in inequality is less than or equal to. Remember that all these symbols from number 1 to number 2 to number 3 to number 4, they are all inequality symbols. Inequality symbols. So in my subsequent videos, I will be dropping videos that relates to problem involving inequality. And I will tell you and show you how to solve a problem as regarding to when you are given a problem involving greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. Do well to follow me on Facebook and as well subscribe to my YouTube channel, Israeli Maths Concept, so that whenever I drop a new maths content, you will be notified. All right, looking at this, let's take the last thing before we call it a day in this video. Remember, the term linear means straight. So why I'm considering linear inequality is because in my subsequent video, we begin to solve problems that resemble a situation like this: 2x is greater than 4. Looking at this given problem, when we draw a table for the values of x and the corresponding values of y to represent it in a Cartesian plane, you will discover that it will give us a straight line graph. And this straight line graph is the term linear. So an equation of this form is not just an ordinary equation, but rather it is an inequality system of equation. And when we plot the graph of this set of inequality, it will give us a linear graph. Hence the term linear inequality. Thank you for viewing. See you next time. Goodbye.